How to make money as a producer. I'm going to talk about 10 different ways where you can make money as a producer in this video. So before we get into just going down the list of these 10 different ways, if you actually want to make money as a producer and you want to go about it in a thoughtful and strategic way, then there are two really important things that you need to first understand and know of before just jumping into making money. Of course, we all want to make money, right? To get the things we want, to buy the time we want, and to have that freedom, essentially. So, but the first two things, these important things are, one, your craft, and two, your goal. You need to decide. So let's first talk about the latter. Let's talk about the goal first. What is your goal as a music producer? Or maybe you're a songwriter, or maybe you're an artist, but this is really about the producer side of things. What is your goal? Do you want to be, a Billboard, best, produce for Dua Lipa or produce for Beyonce, whoever? Do you want to be that kind of chart Billboard topper producer? Do you want to produce for TV commercials? Do you want to be a teacher at a college or the teacher on the internet? Decide what you want your long-term thing to be. And that means, like, in 30 years from now, or 20 years, or whatever, 40 years, who do you want to be? What do you want your main career, your main source of income to be? So picture yourself in 30 years and you're sitting, in your house or whatever. Maybe you have a family by then, whatever. What do you want to have? What do you want to be? Because you're going to need to decide that so you can strategically go about these ways to make money, so you know how to divide your time. Okay, so that's the first thing. And now the second thing is your craft. So this is in line with your goal as well. Your craft will determine how good you need to be to get to your goal. And your craft is everything when it comes to making money as a producer. If you're not a good producer, your craft being your actual skill set, your production skill set, if you're not a good producer, you won't be making money as a producer. So your craft, the time you spend practicing your craft, being a better producer, learning, that's a lifelong journey that will never stop. So you need to, and if you're just a beginner producer, then it's really hard to make money in the first year, even 2 years at all, because you don't have the craft yet. You just started learning Logic, or you're a GarageBand. You know some things, but you can't just like make money right away. It's not that easy. So and no matter what anyone tells you about like making money in the first year, of course there are outlier stories, but it's not that easy to make money as a producer. You have to stick with it and build your craft. And what else are you going to do anyways? Like, if you want to be a producer and make money, why not invest the time to be a really good one? And that's going to just improve your self-esteem and improve your confidence by becoming a great producer. So find out your goal and build your craft. If you're just a beginner, build that craft before you even consider making money. And those two things, once they're together, then we can go through the list of these 10 and decide, okay, which one should you spend long-term? What's that long-term goal for you? Is it the teaching? Is it the Billboard thing? Is it this internet personality? That you can decide what is your long-term goal. And then you can fill in with revenue and make money just in the short term that will help you get to your long-term, okay? So, okay. Now that's a lot of kind of like pre-ramble stuff I just said. So let's get into the list of 10 right now. And when you're going through this list of 10, you're going to need to choose one or two, that's going to be your long-term thing. That's the 30 years from now thing, that you're going to be continuously working on your craft every day. And that's going to be building, that's going to be your career. You're going to be building that for 30 years or whatever. Then there's going to be some other things in this list that you're going to say, hey, I can do that actually within a year, and that can make me some money over the next few months to a few years. And that can sustain me to get me to that long-term goal, okay? So think of this list of 10 as one or two as your long-term thing that's going to be your thing, and then a few in there that's going to be like, I need to make money because I need to live. And so you choose one of these two things that's just going to sustain you in the short term. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is just mixing, mastering, producing on marketplaces. So two examples of marketplaces would be Upwork and Fiverr. This to me would be more that like short-term sustain yourself thing. So you can go to marketplaces like Fiverr or Upwork. These are two marketplaces that I would recommend. So just look like music production. I will provide top line. I will ghost produce. These are people that are charging money. This one's $6.72. This one's $235.08. So you can see the variety of cost. You can place yourself in there depending on your skill set. You can charge really low if you're just a beginner. Why not? You're just putting yourself out there. You could be like, I'll mix a song for $10. If it's the first song you mixed, you're only charging $10. If someone wants to spend $10 on you, they can't expect an amazing result, right? And that's okay because you're just a beginner. So Fiverr is a site. Upwork is another site that you could check out. And these are marketplaces where you just start a profile and you can say, I will mix your song, I will write a song, I will produce a song, I will master a song, that kind of thing, whatever your craft is. That's something in the short term that can sustain you with money. The second thing would be voiceover work. So you've seen commercials, you've seen movies. There are a lot of people, a lot of companies that want to hire voiceovers for their usually ads or maybe previews or movies. Maybe you have that deep preview voice, but I'm not really talking about that like low baritone preview voice. I'm just talking about anything because there are some local companies too that want ads or want little commercials. They don't have big budgets to go and spend on big voiceover budget work. So what you can do is start local, and you could go to your town, your village, your city, wherever, and start reaching out to some of these businesses to ask if they want voiceover work or even ad work, like a little jingle or something. Starting local is great because usually local small businesses don't have big budgets for this. So if you reach out and just quote them, say, a reasonable cost based on your skill set, you might find that you can get some work from that. And if you're a producer, you likely have the setup. You have the microphone, you have the audio interface, you know how to record your voice. You're one step above people that are just getting started that want to be in that voiceover work. A caveat to this one too is if you find someone who wants to do voiceover work but doesn't know how to record their voice, well, you can record their voice. Bring them over for half an hour, record their voiceovers, and take a cut of their revenue from that project. The third one would be television and internet ads. So this is making music for big brands, but also could be small brands too. So this is I think more of a long-term thing because it's difficult to get started right away, because a big part of this is creating the relationships with these music agencies that take in the work. So if you want to have a great career making music for Nike and Google and Adidas and Honda and Porsche, like these big brands, you can do that. There are people that have good livings having a home studio and making music for advertisements. But this would be a long-term thing. So you can continuously work on your skill set in creating like mock music for ads, and then starting to create the relationships by reaching out to these music agencies around the globe. It doesn't need to be local there. You can reach out to music agencies around the globe. So that would be a long-term thing, but it's an option there for you. The fourth thing would be making music for sound marketplaces. This is kind of similar to making music for ads because a lot of these marketplaces, people that download music use it for ads, but it's not necessarily true because, for example, Epidemic Sound, Artlist are two of the big ones that come to mind where you can sign up as a creator and make music for these marketplaces. So if I go back to Google here and just type in Artlist, here's Artlist where you can sign up to be a creator. So if we go to the top left here and go to become an artist, you can sign up to become an artist. They're going to make sure you are at their level of whatever level they like their artists to be. The same thing you can do with Epidemic Sound. Now, most of this music is used for smaller brands like Honda, Nike, and that kind of thing. That level would never use this type of music. I mean, they could, but usually those industries are separated. So this would be like a lot of YouTubers, a lot of smaller brands, because it's not exclusive licenses. So, for example, a song that's downloaded here, if I'm Nike, well, also the new YouTuber who just started their channel yesterday can also use that song. So a lot of those big brands want that exclusivity. With Epidemic Sound and Artlist, there is no exclusivity. A song can be used a number of times. So just like Epidemic Sound, you can sign up as a creator. So that's another way to make money. Probably, in my opinion, would be more of a short-term thing, unless really that's your thing and you want it to be a long-term thing. The fifth thing would be producing music, like for indie artists. This would be a healthy balance between short-term and long-term. So indie artists, there are tons of people who are making music nowadays, and I think everyone is like a songwriter nowadays, especially like overcoming this pandemic and people having the time to write songs. So if you're a producer, you can reach out to independent artists in your city that don't really have a following. Maybe they have never released a song, and you can quote them to produce their song, mix their song, master their song. And you can have a reasonable quote, $200, $300. If you're just a beginner, that's okay. And you can give them a result, and based on the price you quote, they should, if someone's paying $200, $300, well, they got to expect that it's not going to be amazing, but it's going to be good. If you're going to charge $1,000, then you should expect something amazing, or at least really, really good. So this is like short term, where you can pitch these small independent artists that can lead you, which will snowball into bigger artists. You get a bigger artist, and then the next year you get a bigger artist. Then it starts to snowball, where eventually you're starting to get better at your craft because you're working on it, but then it's going to snowball into bigger artists. That could get you to that Billboard chart topper. Why not, right? If you're working on your craft and you're continuing to up your level of artists you're working with, you can get there. Number 6 is sample packs, MIDI packs, loops, basically just sounds. Like you've heard of Splice, maybe you've heard of Output by Arcade. These are just libraries of sounds. You can create your own library. There's no reason you can't. The difficult part about packs, sample libraries, loops, this type of thing is if you don't have a following, if you don't have anyone to sell it to, then it's hard to make any money. So this could be like a medium long-term thing to help you make money. If you've been doing this for a year or two and you have a bit of a following, then you can release a pack. Like, here are my favorite MIDI chords that I use. It's as simple as going into your DAW. I could create that chord progression, make it sound better and quantize it, and that could be a MIDI chord progression that I could sell. Or I could grab my guitar here and record a guitar loop, and that could be a guitar loop, and I could make a pack of guitar loops. I could make a pack of bass sounds. You see where I'm going. You can make these little packs, because you probably purchased packs before, and you can sell your own. So that's another great way to make money. Very difficult if you're just a beginner, though, because you don't have a following. It's like, great, you make a pack and post it. Who's going to come buy it, right? Especially if your craft isn't there yet, then it might not be that good. So this is more of a medium thing where you get pretty good. You have a bit of a following. Okay, make a sound pack, make a MIDI pack, a bit of a library, and then put it out to your audience, and you'll sell a little bit. Long term, though, unless it's really something you're passionate about, it could be a long-term thing, but I think it's more of that medium to long-term money-making goal. Let's segue into the 7th one, which is making beats / instrumentals and selling them on your own proprietary site, or using a marketplace site like BeatStars. So I've talked about this on my channel before. I think this could be a long-term thing. If you really love making beats, or you really love making instrumental music, you can make a career out of that and selling it on BeatStars or on your own site, for example. It could also be more of a medium thing. It's not really in that short term because, again, if you don't have a following, then it's difficult to get your beats out there, right? If you just make one beat and put it on BeatStars, then you don't have the following to get that exposure. So that's more of the medium to long term thing. But selling beats and instrumental is the 7th way to make money as a producer. Number 8 is becoming an affiliate affiliate marketer. This is like low hanging fruit that doesn't make a lot of money, but it's good to have anyways. You could do it at the short term, you could do it medium term and long term. It's kind of like full life cycle of being a music producer. Affiliate marketing is usually based on links where you would get a unique link from a company. So let's say like DistroKid is a popular one. DistroKid is a music distributor that it gives out unique links to all their customers. So for example, I'll post an example in this video for you. You can get 7% discount on your first year sign up to DistroKid if you use my link, or if you use anyone's link, really. You can get your own if you sign up to DistroKid. So the thing is, if you sign up on that link, then I get $10 or something. So you can go to any company. A lot of companies have these programs in place. If you sign up to my link, you get $5 or you get a percentage of the sale. So you can see it still matters in the short term because people can use it. It's not a lot of money, especially in the short term. But once you build a following, once you become pro, and you have these links in your YouTube descriptions, or you have them in your Instagram or your social accounts, or you send out emails, it's just a great low-hanging fruit that doesn't require much effort because it's just links and then can last your full life cycle to your career. 9th way to make money as a producer is teaching, either one-to-one or selling courses. So there's benefits to both. One-to-one, you can usually charge a good amount. This is more difficult in the short term because if you haven't built your craft, you shouldn't be teaching really. I mean, unless you're a little good and you can teach a real beginner, that's totally fine. And I would suggest it. Sometimes the best way to learn something is by teaching it. So, so that's one-to-one, which you can charge a bit more for. Especially when you get pro, you can charge a few $100s an hour. Then you have courses, which are more work up front, but it becomes passive revenue because as soon as you build the product of a course, then you don't need to spend the time actually teaching the course anymore. It's just online. So courses is a way as one of my revenue sources, and I teach courses and I have paid courses where I put a lot of upfront work, takes sometimes more than a month to make a course, but then that course is a product and you can market that product as a course. So that's also a great way to make money and is definitely a long-term thing. I think for me, it's one of my long-term things because I enjoy teaching. So you can look out in 30 years and say, I want to have, a lot of these courses, or I want to create my own academy, or I want to, also start teaching in person or doing workshops. That's definitely a long-term thing, but also could be that sustaining thing in the short term. If you are really good at mixing or you're great at production, then you can do some classes here or there one-on-one as you build your craft for making ads or whatever that long-term goal is. That could help you sustain because you could do, in the evenings, charge $50 an hour, whatever, and make that money on the side to just sustain you to get to your other long-term revenue goal. The 10th and last thing is just YouTube AdSense and sponsored videos. So if you have a YouTube channel, this is definitely, again, more medium to long-term because AdSense and sponsored videos don't make up a lot of the revenue if you're just beginning. If you're just starting a YouTube channel, for example, you can't even have ads on your channel until you get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watch time. On Instagram, there's not really a lot of ways to make money on Instagram with ads, but you can do sponsored posts and this type of thing. With TikTok as well, you can do sponsored posts. And there is a bit of an ad, like AdSense model on TikTok as well. So these are great, like low-hanging fruit things to have in place, even if you're just a beginner, but that will also sustain you for the rest of your career because, again, there's no effort on your part. You just kind of turn on AdSense revenue when it comes into play. There is a bit of effort when it comes to sponsored videos where you actually, a company reaches out to you and you do a specific video for that. that can be your choice if you want to do that when that comes. But I would say this is like definitely get this going as soon as you can, and then that will sustain you long term. And you can always have the option just to take it off and turn it on whenever you want. So that's 10 ways on how to make money as a producer. Very important. Find that long-term end goal. What's it going to be? Where are you going to be in 30 years? You know, who do you want to be? Not like this isn't a personal development course, but as a career, who do you want to be as a producer? How good do you want to be? What's your long-term end revenue goal? And then find those short-term goals in between that can help sustain you until then. Thanks again for watching if you made it this far in the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.